guys, Jonathan here at Shadow Foam, and we're looking at the DeWalt Pro Organisers today. And a few of you mentioned the DeWalt tools, you know, put some DeWalt hand tools in the DeWalt box. And it kind of intrigued me because I've never looked at the DeWalt hand tools. So I headed over to Screwfix where they have a load. They had a big stand full of the stuff and we picked out a few bits and bobs. This is the Demolition screwdriver set, which feels pretty heavy. They feel pretty good quality in the packet, this one here. We got their kind of heavy duty plier and snip set. We've got their really beastie tape measure. All this stuff feels pretty heavy duty. And then I've got one of their knives. Now in this video, we're gonna have a look at those, check out, see how good they look, and then put them in a Shadow Foam insert in the case. Now we sell inserts that go straight into this case, no trimming required, it just fits straight in there. We've got them in 50mm and 30mm. All I'm gonna need is one of our cutting kits to get this job done. Let's check out the tools. Right, so firstly, I've already opened the knife, taken it out of its packet. It feels pretty good, you know. I've had quite a few of these little like craft knives, not like a fixed blade, they're like a folding Stanley knife. And this one's pretty good because it's got blades, spare blades in it. You don't get that with all knives. The fold down mechanism's a little bit cheap and cheerful, I think. Some of them come with like nifty little buttons to fold it down. This has just got like a bit of spring steel at the back here. So my first impression is pretty solid, could do better, not bad. I'd have to give it a proper go to know what it was, but it seems pretty decent. All quite expensive, this DeWalt stuff. I don't think any of it, I could say any of it was a bargain. It was all 30 odd quid, even this was 18. This thing was about 30 quid as well. So moving on to the tape measure. This is the honkingest, biggest tape measure I've ever owned. It's massive. If you hang that on your trousers, you need 2 belts, I reckon. Now, well, I don't know what you call this, but it's the most important thing on a tape measure. How far can it go without snapping? I think it's probably more important than how accurate it is, if we're really being honest with ourselves. And I've got that all the way across the room, and it's due to snap on the cameraman any second. There we go, it's snapped at 4 meters. Let me know if you can beat that. Have you got a DeWalt tape? Can you get past 4 meters? I'll be impressed if you can. And that's the other thing with this, actually, I've just noticed it's got measurements on both sides, which I'm not sure when you'd use that, if I'm honest. So we'll open up the screwdrivers using the knife. Seems to work. Now on this, even in the packet, I could see that they don't have, usually a good demolition screwdriver has a metal plate here, so you can kind of whack it with a hammer and it's not going to fall apart. Now this doesn't have that, which I would say is a negative. However, it does have a hexagon shaft on it, which it's a bit of a weird one, this, because DeWalt is owned by Stanley, and the Stanley demolition screwdrivers, which I do have, let me grab one of those. These are the Stanley demolition screwdrivers, and they have got the tang goes all the way through to a metal plate on the top, and you can whack it, which is what you're going to want for a demolition screwdriver, isn't it? These don't have that, but what they do have is a hexagon shaft on them. So that means you can hold a screw in place and then use a spanner to loosen it. So it's a bit weird, really. I mean, what you want is a screwdriver that's got a metal tang on it and it's hexagon. So both of these screwdrivers missed the mark for me, but you know, they're pretty good. They feel heavy duty and there's a good selection of them. I can't remember exactly what I paid for these, but we'll put the price on the screen and all the links for this stuff will be down in the description. So onto these pliers. So these are sprung, that's always handy. Right, so these are pretty good, they're all sprung. They're called compound action pliers, and they don't spring back. But I do think having that is quite nice. If you're just working on a site and you're just cutting cables out for demolition. I mean, these are demolition screwdrivers. These aren't technically demolition pliers, but they would be good for chopping out loads of cables. And the same with this, if you're just kind of like dragging and pulling stuff out. They seem pretty good. I mean, you can see that they're ground. These aren't chrome, these are like steel, and then they've got a little bit of oil on them, so that is probably better. Pretty good, not bad. The handles feel pretty cheap. You can tell, yeah, these, looking at the molded handles, you can tell these are pretty cheap, to be fair. You've not got the same rubber grip as these. These have got like a really solid rubber grip handle. This has got one of those cheap, you'll know what I mean, if you ever buy a cheap set of pliers, a cheap set of everything, anything really, and they've got like a very plasticky finish, and you can see the mold lines. Down the sides of these pliers, you can see the mold lines on both sides, and it's a very just plasticky feel. It's got the DeWalt logo on it, so it's proper DeWalt stuff, but not great really. Tape measure though is a different kettle of fish. It's kind of got a rubber housing, it feels decent, the steel feels good. That does feel like good quality. This was made in Thailand, the knife was made in Vietnam, all of that stuff was made in China. But you know, this thing is the best. So, you know, shout out to Thailand, good tape measures. The Chinese stuff, as you'd expect, a little bit subpar. Knife seems pretty good. So, that's all the tools reviewed. Let me know if you use any of those or if there's any other DeWalt tools you'd recommend. But let's get them organized. I'll get the case, take these inserts out, show you that this foam insert here, which is available on the shadowfoam.com website in twin packs, fits straight in that case like that. And all we have to do now is lay out all the tools and then cut them out. So let me get a layout sorted. Right, so that's the layout sorted. That's usually the hard bit. Make sure you take a photograph of it so you don't forget where everything went. That's what I usually do. So take a photo of that, bang. I've got my cutting kit, bang. I'll get my glove on, bang. And I get my scalpel with a blade on it, bang. So when it comes to cutting foam, it's dead simple. Let's show you in 3 steps. 1, place the item where you want it to go and cut around it. Use the scalpel like a pencil. You're just holding it tight to the item. You're keeping the scalpel 90 degrees to the foam and you're just lightly cutting all the way around the item to get that profile, that silhouette captured on the foam. 2, cut the foam deeper. You can take the item away now and just go back and cut that foam down as deep as you need it to be. So for this knife, it's about 18 mil deep. So we want to cut down about 20, 25 mil. 3, peel back the foam. So you can do this in a couple of layers at a time. You just stick your finger down one end, pull the foam back towards you, and it's as simple as that. You chase the foam along. You can do multiple layers or you can do 1 layer. I'm going to do a couple of layers here, and then all being well, you just chuck the item in and we're on to the next item. So that's how you cut the shadow foam. Let's get it all done. And that is the last item done. So there we go. That is all the tools cut in the tray. Looks really good, doesn't it? I'm sure you'd agree, because I think it looks flipping awesome. The keen-eyed of you may have noticed I had to miss out 1 screwdriver. I'm pretty good at layouts and I'm always up for a challenge, but this was 1 tool too many to go in that tray. So I've skipped that one out, but we've got everything else in there. So let's chuck it in the case. Make sure it all fits. So push that in there. That is looking great. And that is a handy little kit, to be fair, isn't it? That is a nice little kit. And there we go, all in. And maybe that can just go, stab it in there, stab it in the side. Not sure about that. Don't know where that'll go. Maybe that'll go on the front. Simple as that. That took me, Matt, tell me. Sam, you were filming it, Matt. You'll know how long that took. What was that? 15 minutes? Maybe not even that. Maybe less than 15 minutes. I hope you enjoyed that. Maybe it's inspired you to do something. Make sure you subscribe. We've got loads of DeWalt videos in the pipeline. So if you're a DeWalt fan, make sure you subscribe, click the bell icon, because you're not going to want to miss what we've got coming up. And it is a Toughsystem ultimate setup, which I'm sure you're looking forward to seeing. Thanks very much for watching the video, and we'll see you in the next one.